I see you. You are someone that gets negative thoughts and overthinks on a daily basis, and when you do, it just ruins your entire day and you don't know how to stop. But that is going to change with this video because I'm going to take you through a 3-step process that is going to change the way that you see your negative thoughts and decrease the suffering and the pain that you experience around them. So one of the most common things that I get asked as a coach is, how can I completely get rid of my negative thoughts so that I never have a single negative thought in my life ever again? And the short answer to that is you can't. The faster you accept that you are human, you are not a robot, you are not an AI, the faster that you will be able to move forward with this process. Once you realize that it doesn't actually matter how many negative thoughts you get, it only matters how you respond to them and how you take yourself through that process, you are going to break that cycle of perfectionism. Step 1. Rather than trying to get rid of all of your negative thoughts all at once, we are going to focus on removing the charge around that thought. So the way that a negative thought will influence you will depend on the charge that that negative thought has. Obviously, if it has a very strong charge to it, then you are going to feel very intensely about that thought and you are going to believe that thought as if it was a real fact. That thought is obviously going to drain the crap out of you, so what we want to focus on is bringing the charge back to neutral. I'm going to give you an example from my own personal life. So when I was younger, I used to have the negative thought that I was stupid, I was dumb. And I had this thought because I went to a competitive selective school in my state, and so everyone around me was just academically a genius. Now this thought used to feel extremely true and real for me, and basically it would feel very charged, and I would take it on as my identity. I would literally think that me as a person was stupid and me as a person was dumb, and I would think that it was an absolute fact. The way that you make this charged thought neutral is by understanding that it is literally just a thought in your head. It isn't an actual fact. It isn't a solid fact. It only feels like a fact because you've had that thought in your head so many times. It's run through your mind multiple times, reinforcing that thought and seeing evidence of it. And so you eventually accepted it as the truth. So when you become aware of the negative thought that you are having and you are overthinking on, you need to question it, you need to challenge it, you need to go to the root and see, why do you think that this negative thought is true? What is the reason? What is the evidence behind this thought, and what does it mean to you? So challenge it and question it instead of absorbing it like your autopilot reaction. When you decrease the charge around this negative thought, your emotions don't shake you up as much as they used to, and you are just going to have a lot more control over your life and how you want to respond. Step 2. You need to stop demonizing your negative thoughts and seeing them as the enemy, seeing them as the bad guy, because they are not. It is only your resistance towards them that makes them feel like the enemy, that makes them feel so painful and so much suffering that's created around it. Understand that it is your resistance to those negative thoughts that is causing you more suffering than the actual thought or emotion itself. It's actually your inability to safely give yourself the space to feel and process those negative thoughts or feelings that makes them feel so suffocating. It's also the label that you are giving that thought that is making you suffer. Because what usually happens when you do get a negative thought is that you firstly put the label as negative on that thought, and when you label that thought as negative, you start instinctively wanting to suppress it, to deny it, to avoid it, to distract yourselves, because you've been taught that having negative thoughts is inherently bad, but it's not. It's literally human. You tell yourself that it isn't safe for you to feel this negative thought, to have this negative thought, and so you actually become even more stressed out about having this thought in the first place, and you try to do everything that you can in your power to get rid of it. And in doing so, in trying to get rid of that negative thought, you are just creating so much more stress, so much more panic, so much more anxiety for yourself, and it's unnecessary. You put even more charge to that thought than it initially might have even had. That thought might have just been a passing thought, and you just had to attach all this meaning around this negative thought, making it mean, oh, it's so bad for me to have this thought. And that's what keeps the thought lingering in your mind, your inability to tell yourself that it is actually safe for you to feel it, and therefore let it go. I want you to understand that it is safe for you to feel any negative thought, any negative emotion, because you are larger than any thought, any emotion you can ever conceive in your mind. You're only scared of negative thoughts and negative emotions and overthinking because you think that the emotions are bigger and more powerful than you, but they aren't. Now, step 3, we are going to change our mindset around negative thoughts and overthinking. We are going to change our relationship with our negative thoughts. Do you realize by only allowing yourself to feel positive thoughts and positive emotions, you are actually limiting your self-expression as a human being? There is actually beauty in feeling sadness. There is actually beauty in feeling loneliness. There is actually beauty in feeling those negative thoughts that you have time to time, because it is part of the human experience. Just imagine how it would feel if you were restricted to only having positive thoughts in the entire course of your life. Just think about it. How boring, how mundane would life be reduced to? Realize that there would be absolutely no evolution, no growth, nothing for you to overcome, nothing for you to grow from, and you are just going to continue being the same person that you were from birth, and that is boring. So you have to understand that it is precisely these moments where you are having these negative thoughts, that you are overwhelmed and overthinking. It is precisely these moments in life where you are just feeling so low that you actually are presented with an opportunity to grow from these experiences, for growth and expansion, right? Because that's ultimately what we are here on earth to do. There would be no opportunity for growth if you never had any negative thoughts and if you never had any negative emotion. So be grateful for them and see that they have a higher purpose in your life as well. I have noticed that I have actually grown so much as a person from all the experiences in the past where I had just so much mental anguish, so much mental pain from the negative thoughts, from the overthinking, from the anxiety. And honestly, I am grateful for those opportunities because they were all golden opportunities for growth, for expansion. I have gratitude for them because I knew they had a higher purpose in that moment that I can only see in hindsight right now. I'm only able to see the lessons and the value that I got from those experiences right now. I'm definitely not saying to put yourself through that pain deliberately just because you want to grow, but I am also not saying to stay in victimhood and only allow yourself to wallow in negative thoughts, because we don't want that either. You need to learn that it is so normal, so healthy for you to occasionally have these negative thoughts pop up, and it is a sign that your fight or flight is actually functional and working, so that in the case where you are actually put in physical danger, you are able to get yourself out of that situation. So instead of feeling panic or feeling fear every time you notice yourself having a negative emotion or overthinking arise in you, know that they are here to teach you something about yourself, right? To deepen the relationship that you have with yourself and putting you on the path that is truly authentic and honest for you. So to summarize, step 1, decrease the charge around that thought. Step 2, stop demonizing the negative thoughts. Stop seeing them as the enemy. Stop seeing them as the bad guy. And step 3, recognize the value that is actually held in negative thoughts and these types of experiences and appreciate them. Let them move you forward in life rather than holding you back. I hope you guys found value in this video. Thank you for spending the time with me today, and as usual, I believe in you guys. You got this. I will catch you guys next time. Bye bye.